So some of the things that you can expect to get out of today's meeting is what a day in the life of a virtual student will look like, how to use Seesaw, which will be our main platform where you'll receive information on a daily basis for your student, Google Meet, which is what we're utilizing now, they'll use daily with their teacher. And then Calvert Learning is a learning system that we'll talk about that we won't use the first week of school, but we'll introduce it as school continues after the first week. What the expectations are for you as a student, and then you'll have questions probably about Chromebook repairs, and we'll have to be able to answer those questions as well. So we're going to kind of start in a sample day in the life. Now this can be altered a little bit once you meet with your teacher. They may adapt these times to fit the schedule for the class, but just to kind of show you what a potential schedule could look like for your elementary students. So teachers are asked to have a morning meeting every day at 8 o'clock, and that's through Google Meet with your teacher, and that will be with the entire virtual class with the teacher. And that's a great way for the teacher and the student to kind of set the expectation for the day. I know I do better at a routine, and so you know you're going to get up just like you're going to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're ready to go and start your day. And that way the teacher can set up the plan for the day and the student knows the expectation. It's also a time where they can interact with their friends in their classroom, so a time that they can collaborate. We'll also have, after that, there'll be a work time, and this might be an opportunity for the students to do work in Seesaw, and then after we introduce Calvert Learning, they may be doing some of their lessons in Calvert Learning. The work time, though, is really your time to set. So if you want to work later in the afternoon, that's fine. The only times that are mandatory and set are those face-to-face times with your teacher through Google Meet, and the teacher will let you know when those times are. So another part of the sample schedule is that from 9 to 11:30, the student's focus may be on reading during that time, and the teacher would set a time for them to meet. It may be more than one time during that time. Some teachers might want to do a 10-minute mini lesson at the beginning of that time. The student works independently, and then they may have to join a Google Meet later on for a small group instruction with the teacher. And then that 11:30 to 1 is a sample time that the child could do recess or go ahead and eat lunch or work on reading and math or science and social studies work through Calvert Learning. And again, Calvert Learning will come into play not at the beginning, but soon after the beginning of school. And then math instruction in the afternoon would kind of mirror the reading instruction. So during the math instruction, the teacher may ask you to log on for a 10-minute mini lesson, and then later on they may ask the students to log back on for 30 minutes for a small group instruction.
I'm just getting every 3 words.
Just a reminder, if you'll mute your volume, and if you have any questions, if you'll type them in the chat box, and we'll answer those.
Yeah, your mic's on.
So the teacher, after the first week, if you'll be patient with them as they set the times and know which students need to work together, those times will be set. So every day you'll know when to log in for your Google Meets throughout the day to meet with your teacher. If you're not in a Google Meet with your teacher, any of that other time will be spent, again, on your work time. So in ELA, math, science, and social studies, which could be in Seesaw, or it could be in Calvert Learning. And we'll talk about both of those things in just a little bit. There's also PE in Calvert Learning that your student could participate into on a daily basis as well. All right, so Jess Richardson is one of our technology coaches in the elementary school, and she's going to talk with you about Seesaw. And Seesaw will be the main hub that you use every single day at the very beginning of the day.
So what I'm going to do is walk you through from the parent side on how we would help our students get logged into Seesaw that first time. And then I'll show you the tools that our students are going to be using and what they need to be looking at each day. So if you have already done this, this is just going to be review for you. But those of us that need to add our child as a student in their teacher's classroom, this is how you're going to get your child logged in. So when we go to Seesaw, we go to seesaw.me. Let me show you that from the beginning. Seesaw.me. When we go there, it's going to look like this. when it loads. And when I get here, in this top corner, we're going to have a blue login button. I'm going to click that. It'll open a new tab, and now I'm going to have the option to sign in. So our students are going to choose I'm a student. All of our students have a Google email address through the district, so that's what we're going to join Seesaw with. I'm going to choose the sign in with Google button up here. And then I will choose my name. Your child's name will come up. They will click on it. And that will get them logged in. Once they're logged in, it's going to take them to a screen like this. If you have used Seesaw before, so if you are going into you all are going into a new grade, but if you used it last year at school, you'll just need to click on your name and choose join class. If you are not currently in a Seesaw classroom, it'll come up here. So when we do that, we get to put in a code. So I'm going to enter the student code. Your code comes from your teacher, so everybody's is based on their teacher. Here is the one for the class I am joining, but again, yours will be different. So I put that code in and click join class. Once I've joined class, you can then go to it. And now I'm inside my Seesaw classroom. So as a student, this is what I'm going to see. I can see work that my teacher or my classmates has posted. If I am coming here in the morning, which everyone should come to Seesaw first, I'm going to come over here and click inbox. When I click inbox, this is where I can see messages from my teacher. This is where you'll see what you're doing that day, what you need to do for work that day, and it's where you will find the link for your Google Meet every single day. So in the morning, when you go to get logged on to your first Google Meet of the day, which is at 8 a.m., you will go here and you will choose the inbox button right here, and you'll see what your teacher has sent you, and then you can click the Google Meet link to go join that teacher's Google Meet. So that's how we check what our teacher has asked us to do. Now, if your teacher asked you to do an activity in Seesaw, they may do that on some days to have you practice a skill. You're going to come to activities. That's here with the light bulb. When I click on the light bulb, I can see activities my teacher has assigned to me. So they'll show up just like this. It'll have the topic and what I'm supposed to be doing. In order to respond to this and to do what the teacher has asked me to do, I'm going to click this green Add Response button. And when I click that button, it opens up the activity for me so that I can complete it and turn it into my teacher. And then journal is just where I can see the work that I have turned in and the work that my classmates have turned in. Now, after you turn in an activity, if you don't see it in the journal right away, that's okay. Our teachers have to approve our post before it's going to show up inside a Seesaw. So that's what Seesaw looks like when getting ourselves logged in and the tools inside of it. Do you have any questions about that?
Again, this is recorded so that you can go back and look at it if you do have questions once you get into Seesaw and work in it. So just thinking about Seesaw again, that you'll go here at the beginning of each day to get your daily agenda for the day, so you'll know exactly what you need to complete. Your Google Meet link will be posted here so that if you forget that, it's always there for you to click on so you can join your teacher at the appropriate times for the Google Meet. And your assignments will be there, whether it's in Seesaw or it may direct you to Calvert Learning. Google Meet is what we're on today. And so some things to think about with Google Meet. Again, the Google Meet link will be in your Seesaw. You want to be on time for the times that you're set to join each day with the teacher. And it's important to be on time, especially for those small group lessons, because there's other students that are joining with you and you want to be respectful of everybody's time. And the teacher has a schedule of when she's got to meet with different groups. So you want to make sure that you're there on time so that you can maximize your instruction time. When you join a Google Meet, you want to make sure that you're in a space in your house or wherever you are that's free from distractions and extra noise, so that you can focus in on the work that you're doing. And you don't want a lot of background noise that may be distracting for the person or the other students are in your group. So making sure that, I know when I was in a Google Meet one time, my dog was barking. Well, that would be distracting to other students. So I might have my dog in another room, or the TV on, making sure that it's off so that that noise doesn't interfere with your learning. Just like when you're in school, you wouldn't have distracted noises in your classroom. So you have to think of the virtual classroom kind of like your classroom at school, and what would be appropriate and what would not be appropriate. Calvert Learning is the learning content management system that we will utilize. You'll hear more about this within the second week of school. It's kind of like an online textbook content learning system in itself. And we're going to watch a short video that kind of walks you through what that will look like in the future.
This tutorial will give you a quick look at a day in the life of a student using our content. First, each day when you launch your course, you're going to land on a suggested daily schedule page. This suggested daily schedule page will give you 5 days worth of lesson content for each of the subject courses in which you are enrolled. There's a blue progress bar that will let you know where you left off the day before and where you should start. Each of these are links that will take you directly into lesson parts themselves. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this lesson part here. When you're looking at an individual lesson, you need to think about the fact that each of the individual lesson cards are new activities. So you'll move through the different lesson cards as you move throughout the course of the lesson. When you're thinking about an English language arts course, for example, you may have more text to read through. If that becomes tiresome or burdensome for you, or if you're not quite an independent reader yet, you can use this text-to-speech feature up here in the upper right-hand corner to have the text read to you. You'll work through the individual lesson card components as you go through your lesson. These are all links to the text that you'll be reading in this case. In other subject areas, it would be a link to your e-textbook. These are links that will take you directly to, in this case, the picture cards. You'll also see links to things such as graphic organizers, games, brain pop videos, other interactive activities to go along with the lesson content. Once you've finished all of the lesson cards, you will submit something for either grading or for your teacher to view to show that you've completed the lesson. Sometimes these submissions will be a rate your understanding or rate your interest question. That's going to give your teacher some information about how you felt about the content and if you feel like you really understand it or not. The quick checks are actually going to be graded and they are part of your score. So you'll want to make sure that you definitely take time to answer these quick checks correctly. You also will have times where you're submitting a use for mastery assessment, and those will also be graded as a part of your overall score for your course. And then other times you might be submitting a project or a unit quiz, and those will also be counted toward your grade. If you ever have any questions about what your grades are, you can go to the dashboard page on your login, and you actually have 3 tabs that you can take a look at from this page. The first tab is your performance tab. It's going to list all of the courses that you're taking as well as your current grade in those individual courses. And you can click open one of those courses and take a look at everything that you've submitted for grading. And you can actually go in and see your score as well as any teacher feedback from this page. You can also go to your notifications page to get information about when things were graded for you, as well as if a retake was granted for you. You can go right here and click on that message to take you right to that graded assessment or the granted retake. You may also want to be aware of how far along you are in your courses. So when you click on the progress tab, this is going to give you information on that. The progress tab is a little bit relative. So if you're in gray or green, you should be in pretty good shape as far as having time to finish your course. If your progress bar turns red, that means that you have more incomplete lesson parts than days remaining in your school year. And if your progress bar is red, I think it's a good idea to reach out to your teacher to make sure that you have a plan in place to help you finish your course on time. You can also access individual subject areas over here on the left-hand side where you see classes. If you click on one of these classes, it's going to take you to a course outline view. And this course outline view is really helpful because it gives you an idea of where you're going as far as your unit of study is concerned. So I can see from this course outline view how many of the different types of assessments there are in each individual course. And then if I go down here and open up the unit, one of the units itself, you'll notice that I can see how many lessons there are in the unit, all the different parts. I can also get a heads up about what kind of assessment there will be in that unit or in that lesson part. So here I can see that there's a use for mastery assessment here. These are some times that I'm going to work on my project. And this gives you a really good, clear picture of where you're going and how many individual lesson parts there are in each unit. So every day when you log in, you're going to work through that suggested daily schedule. You should do at least 4 core subject areas each day, as well as an elective or 2, depending on which ones are assigned to you. Every day, you will always have English language arts, math, social studies, and science assigned to you. And your other elective courses, whether it's art or PE or health, those will be scattered throughout your weeks. Those lessons you'll probably do 1 to 2 times a week. You'll spend about 20 to 30 minutes on those electives courses. For English language arts, you should be spending approximately 90 to 120 minutes on those subject and that subject area. That is a very dense subject area. You're going to want to make sure that you probably do that at the beginning of your day so that you are fresh and ready to go. For math, you should be spending approximately 45 minutes to an hour each day. And then for science and social studies, you'll be looking at 30 to 45 minutes every day for those 4 core subject areas.
I want to clarify too with the Calvert Learning, when they say they suggested of the number of lessons you do per day, that will be set by your teacher. So kind of ignore their time limits and maybe their number of lessons that you'll complete. That may vary depending on the teacher, and they may supplement some of the learning through Seesaw. So they'll let you know what you're expected to do every day. However, you do need to be ready to spend 4 or more hours in your learning on a daily basis, because virtual school is like brick and mortar school, and the amount of material that the teacher needs to cover and the student needs to master within the semester. So we'll gradually introduce Calvert Learning. We want to make sure that everybody gets really good at Google Meet and Seesaw and how to utilize those tools for learning. And then we'll add Calvert Learning into it as well. Calvert Learning does have content for all subjects, and there are assessments built in through Calvert Learning throughout the sessions as well. Oh, we went back to the beginning. All right, student expectations. This is so important because even though you're not coming to school, we still have high expectations for you and for your learning. So we're going to watch a video about student expectations. Here it comes. Maybe. Thank you for your patience as it loads.
Hello, elementary virtual students and parents. The purpose of this video is to go over virtual expectations. In this video, we will discuss Google Meet expectations, Seesaw expectations, how to get your Chromebook repaired, where you can go to find help, and how to email your teacher. Google Meet is the platform you will use to video conference in with your teacher every single day for class. One of the expectations for this is to be on time. Just like we are on time to our real classroom during a regular school year, we want to be on time to our Google Meet classroom. We want our presentation to be good. That means our personal presentation. We want to be following dress code. Make sure our background is not distracting with toys, siblings, or pets. Make sure you mute yourself when you are not talking. If you are not talking, your microphone should be muted until a teacher asks you to unmute it so that you can talk with the class. Leaving microphones unmuted could be loud and be a distraction to other students. Use headphones if you have them. Plug them into your Chromebook so that you can better hear your teacher in the lesson. Participation is a big part of any classroom. Virtual participation might look a little different. Sometimes it will be unmuting yourself so you can speak during class when it is appropriate, responding through the chat in Google Meet, completing activities in Seesaw, or completing lessons in Calvert Learning. When we do use the chat to participate, we want to make sure we use it responsibly by asking questions or giving comments on the topic that is currently being discussed. When you go to Google Meet, it will look like this. At the top, there will be a chat feature. The chat feature is how you can send a message to your teacher. At the bottom, we have a video camera button. If you click it, this button will turn red. This means your camera is not currently on. If your camera is not on, the button will be red, and that means your teacher cannot see you. The same is true for our microphone. If you click the microphone and it turns red, that means the microphone has been muted and your teacher cannot hear you. This middle button is how we hang up. It is how you leave your Google Meet when there's no longer time to be in it. We also have expectations for Seesaw. In Seesaw, your teacher will send you a message every single morning. You need to check that message in the morning to get the link to Google Meet, to find out what you will be doing that day, and to see your schedule. Join your Google Meet with the link your teacher provides in Seesaw. Inside of Seesaw, we can post different things. Make sure all of your posts are school appropriate and on the things you are currently learning. And our final expectation is to complete all assignments each day. Your assignment may be completed in Seesaw or Calvert Learning, but both places will be linked through your Seesaw message and are expected to be completed on the day they are assigned. When you go to Seesaw, it will look like this. The green plus at the top is where we click to create things such as taking a photo or drawing a picture. The journal is where we can see all of the work I have done or that my classmates have done that my teacher has approved. The light bulb button takes you to activities. Teachers can assign you activities inside of Seesaw to practice a skill you have learned. The inbox button is where you will go each morning to see the message from your teacher that shows you what you are doing that day, what your assignments are, and your Google Meet link. If your Chromebook is broken and needs to be repaired, you will follow these steps. Your school that you are home-based in is where you need to take your Chromebook for repair. Home-based means the school that you go to during a regular school year. Your school might supply a loaner Chromebook for you if they have it available. If there is not a loaner Chromebook available, you will need to use a device at home to participate in class until your Chromebook is ready. When your Chromebook has been repaired and is ready for pickup, you will receive a phone call. You will pick your Chromebook up at your home school and bring back your loaner Chromebook if one was provided to you. The school district allows one courtesy screen repair and one keyboard repair per student per year. If you damage your Chromebook past those two repairs and it is in need of a repair, you will be billed for that repair at its price. If you need help with something, District 50 has a learner help desk app. You can find it by going to this website. Notice in this website we have capital letters and one lowercase y. Make sure you put those in the way they appear because the website is case sensitive. And finally, email expectations. When you email your teacher, be sure you are using your District 50 email. Use real words, full sentences, and not slang words. And be respectful when emailing your teacher, just like you would be in person. If you have any other questions about your virtual learners' expectation, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. So those are our expectations for our virtual learners at the elementary level.
The video, some of you said you couldn't see, but we'll make sure it's posted, and it'll also be in the video recording that we'll post for the meet as well. A lot of that too was a review of what we've already talked about, but I think the more times you can hear things, the better. So again, just to reiterate for student expectations that you need to be on time to all scheduled Google Meets, and not just be on time, but with any supplies that your teacher may say that you need. When you think about school supplies that you needed to buy for back to school, you probably may need the same supplies that you are going to use in the classroom that you will use in your virtual classroom. So pens, pencils, notebooks, whatever's on that list, you might want to double check with your virtual teacher of what your needs will be, but those are things that you still will need as you move forward in your virtual classroom. We will also have pickups throughout the semester for you to pick up things that your virtual student may need. So we will do those the second Tuesday of every month. So the first one will be September 8th. We'll send more information about that and the times for pickup. But some of those items might be manipulatives that the students could use in ELA and math, and things that they would normally use in the classroom that they'll need at home. So those will be times for you to pick those up. The teacher will send reminders of that too, so that you can make sure that you get the materials that your student needs. And that's an expectation to be able to come get those materials, as well as like map testing right now, and we'll test again in December. Make sure that you check Seesaw again each morning. That's the first thing you should do before your Google Meet at 8 to make sure there's nothing else you need to do before your meet. If for some reason you're unable to log into the Google Meet, you need to make sure that you let your teacher know as soon as possible that there's an issue of why you can't log into that Google Meet. This affects your attendance. So if you don't respond to the teacher or tell them why you're not joining the Google Meet for that day, you would be counted absent. And so you want to make sure that you are attending your Google Meets and that you're completing all of your work that's been assigned for that day. But that communication with your teacher is essential for that. Make sure that you're participating appropriately and responsibly. So when you're in a Google Meet, think about what would your behavior be like if you were in the actual school classroom. It's the same thing. What would you say? How would you act? What would you do? That Google Meet is like your classroom, so think about those things as you are in your meet with your teacher. Make sure you only post things that are school appropriate, so you're abiding by the same school rules that you would abide with in a brick and mortar setting as you would in a virtual setting. You are to complete all assignments daily. That's the way how you're counted present. So the teacher will look back and see if you completed all your assignments, and that's how you get marked present for that attendance day. Chromebook Repair, it talked a little bit about that in the video. So at any time there's something that's broken on your Chromebook, or I know in summer school the video may not work or the sound may not work, that's when you would take it back to your home-based school. So if I'm normally am a Rice student, I would take my Chromebook back to Rice Elementary. Or if I'm normally a Mays Elementary student, I would take my Chromebook back to Mays. So making sure that you take it back to your home school. Like Ms. Richardson said, if they have a loaner, they'll give you the loaner so that you can use that while that's being repaired. You need to be really careful with your Chromebook. We did not have enough cases for the Chromebooks, and due to shipping, they were on back order. So when you picked up your Chromebook, you may have gotten a case, but you may not have gotten a case, and it was put in a drawstring bag so that you could have a way to carry it without dropping it. So be extra careful with those that do not have a case. You want to make sure that you're taking care of that Chromebook, because to me, that is such a privilege to have a Chromebook at home to be able to do virtual school. So making sure that you take care of that. The district only allows one screen repair and one keyboard per student, and then the second one after that would be a cost. And we will get that repair cost and send that out to you as well through your teacher in the next week or so. This is a great help desk app too, if you want to take the time to write down that bit.ly address that you just type into your web browser, and it'll pull this up, and it has lots of things that you can click on to get more information as you go through the year and as you're learning more about our virtual learning program. I'll give you just a second if you want to write that down. This we just talked about earlier in a meeting I was at, and I wanted to make sure that you're aware of community Wi-Fi hotspots. So these are places in our community that already offer Wi-Fi hotspots for free in their parking lots. Please note too that all of our middle schools, Brewer, Northside, and Westview, in their bus circles, they have free Wi-Fi hotspots. So that's a great place too, where you can get on the internet if something happens with your internet at home, that you can join in into the internet, the hotspot, and that way you can continue your work and continue your class. And we'll continue to add to this list as more places become available. So we're excited about virtual. Just a few things again to remind you. School supplies, your students still probably need school supplies. They may not need as many school supplies that are on that list, so I would check with my teacher, but paper and a pencil are a must, because we still need to do paper and pencil work, and Seesaw has a great way that they can take a picture of their paper and pencil work and post it for the teacher to see. Cutting and coloring and those types of things are great for the younger students too, so I'm sure they'll need those supplies as well. We will have a pickup once a month of other supplies that they may need, and so the first one is on Tuesday, September 8th. We'll send more information out about that. It will be from their home school where they will pick it up. Again, we'll send more information about that. If anybody has any questions, please use the chat box with the little speech bubble at the top, and you can type some questions and we'll try to answer those questions. We will probably have another virtual meeting as the year goes on and we realize there's some things that may need to be answered across the board, especially when we get into Calvert Learning. Calvert Learning does offer some parent sessions, so we'll get that information out too once we start that as well. We're embarking on a journey together, so please be patient with us as we move into this virtual program, and we'll be patient with you too as you move into this virtual program.